Olaf's 1, 2, 3. Let's count, starting with me. See? I have 1 carrot nose, 2 very happy arms, and 3 buttons on my tummy. Reindeer have 4 strong legs. Sven, that tickles. Come on, let's find you a snack. Follow me past these 5 snowy hills. So there's the 5 snowy hills. There's 6 frozen trees and 7 shiny icicles. So if you count the icicles, there's 7. So there goes Sven and Olaf. Kristoff's sled. He might have a snack. Oh wait, first let's count these 8 sparkling snowflakes. So if you look on the page, there's 8 sparkling snowflakes. Kristoff, Anna, they've made 9 snow angels. So you can count the angels. And here's a cup of cocoa with 10 marshmallows. Go ahead, Sven. You can thank me with a kiss. So there's your 10 marshmallows there. And Sven's gonna kiss them, but he looks like he's gonna bite his carrot nose. So our craft today is going to be an Olaf. So to start this, you're going to need a large piece of construction paper. So you can use, I'm using scrapbooking paper, but you can use any kind of paper that you have. And then the first part would be to shape Olaf. So I'm using cotton balls, and I'll go through and tell you how many cotton balls I use to try to make his general shape of the snowman. So at the top for his head, I have 1 cotton ball, and then I have 2 and 1. So that's going to give you sort of the shape of his head. And you don't have to do it exactly. You can do any kind of snowman if you want, but if you want to do Olaf, he kind of has a unique shape. So his head is kind of chin pointed at the bottom, and then he gets a little bit wider down at the bottom. So if you just want to do a regular snowman, you can as well. So we'll start with the top of his head. So I'm going to use 1, and I'm going to just stretch it out a little bit. Cotton balls, if you look at them, they kind of have like a specific shape, and I just took it and stretched it out to the side a little. So I'm going to start with that piece on my paper. So I'll just get his head shaped, and then I'll lift it up and show you. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my next 2 pieces, and I'm going to stretch them out a little bit so they're just a little bit wider. And I'm going to put those on my paper. And then the bottom part, which would shape his chin, I'm going to do the same thing. So that's the start. So I've got 1 and 2 and 1. So that will give you his head shape. And you can push those together and tuck them as tight as you want. So then as I went down the body, I had 2, 2, 2, but I started to stretch them out farther down. Then I have 3. So let's do that next. So I'm just going to put some glue on my page like this. And then I'm just going to take my cotton ball when I need some glue, and I'm just going to brush it through the glue before I lay it down. So I've got 2 for his shoulders that are a little wider. And then 2 more underneath. Just fluffing those up a little. And then he starts to get a little bit wider down at this section, so I'm gonna really stretch the next 2. So that's 2, 2, and this is also 2, but I just stretched it a bit. And then for the bottom section, I've got 3 there, and then his legs. So I'm going to add a little more glue here. So if you stretch them really far, you might only need 2 there. And then I'm going to turn to the other way. So if you look at your cotton balls when they're rolled, they kind of either look like this or this. So if you go the longer way and stretch them down, I'm going to use them like that for his, to sort of look like his legs. Okay, so there's his general shape. So you can go back with your fingers and sort of pull some of your cotton balls apart and kind of mix them together so they look like he's one big snowman. And then my next part is to do his face. So I have some little pieces of craft foam, and I'm going to cut out his mouth and his eyebrows out of this craft foam. So I'm just cutting just a little half circle out of my craft foam for his mouth. And then his eyebrows are really just tiny little slips of craft foam that are going up above his eyes. So I'm going to attach that. For his mouth. And I'll use my white paper for his eyes before I attach the eyebrows. So really you just need some scraps, and I'm just going to cut 2 little circles out of this scrap paper, and I'm going to put those on, and then I'm going to use my marker to outline them. Add those on there. And then I'm going to put his eyebrows up above, so just my little tiny pieces of, this one's a little bit big. Okay. So there's the start of his face, and then I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to outline the outside of his circles for his eyes. So you can do that before or after, whichever you prefer. And then on the inside of his eyes, there's the pupils. And he has nice big centers of his eyes. That's what makes him look uniquely like Olaf. So I'm gonna add those. So he's starting to look a little more like Olaf now. And then his nose is just a circle of orange construction paper. So I just cut a quick circle. You don't have to worry about perfect shapes or tracing or anything like that. So there's his nose. And then on my paper here, I've used the black to make his arms and a little tuft of hair. So I'm going to actually use some white for his tuft of hair on this page because I'm using a black background. So I'm going to just use a scrap of paper, and I'm just going to cut some little slits up at the top to kind of make it look like his hair. And then I'll put a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to attach that at the back. So there's some hair for him. So down the front of Olaf's chest he has buttons. We counted those when we were counting. And again, I just used my scissors to quickly make 3 buttons. If you have buttons at home, you can use those. You can use any kind of stickers you have. I'm just using my craft foam, cutting out a circle shape. So I'm gonna add those on. So then he just needs his arms. So depending on what kind of background you used for your snowman as to what color you make his arms, you can collect sticks from outside to do that as well. So I've decided to use my little scrap of white paper that I have for his arms. So I'm just going to make a long strip of paper and I'm going to just feather the end of it to make it look like part of his arms. I'm just going to dab a little bit of glue on there. And then lastly, Olaf always has some teeth sticking out for his smile, so I'm just going to use another little scrap. You can just be using extra pieces of craft stuff that you have around the house. You don't need a whole lot of special craft supplies for this. And then I also like to write his name on the side of his side of the. So there's our 2 Olaf posters.